Hey, Shabbat Shalom to all my brothers and sisters. All praises to AHAYAH by YASHAYA YASHAYA, that he shared his grace upon us all to be here on this Sabbath lesson and to live and have a good day at work. And, you know, we're here. We sacrifice our time to honor the law, statute, commandments according to AHAYAH, and by participating in this class. Today's lesson is going to be Unshakable Faith. Again, today's lesson is going to be Unshakable Faith. I pray that all my brothers and sisters have your pencils, your pens, and your paper ready. I'm not going to read that many scriptures tonight like I did last week, but let the Spirit flow. So tonight, our first scripture we're going to start off with is going to be Romans chapter 12, 1 through 6. That is in the book of Romans, chapter 12, 1 through 6. Go ahead, brother.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of AHAYAH, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto AHAYAH, which is your reasonable service.
Right. Fix your phone, Mark, because you're going down low. Fix your phone. So he said, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercy of AHAYAH, that you present your body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto AHAYAH, which is your reasonable servant. Showing you that once we came into this truth, this is what we don't live for ourselves no more. We servants of the Most High. It's a reasonable servant. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Hey, fix your phone, brother. Hold on, brother. Brother, if you're on speaker, take it off speaker and fix your phone because you're real low. We need to hear you. Say something? Yes, keep it just like that, please. Read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of AHAYAH.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as AHAYAH hath dealt to every man the measure of faith.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 4. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. Verse 5. So we, being many, are one body in Christ, and every one members one of another. Verse 6. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith.
Right. So it shows us here, right here in this chapter, and it behooves you to read the rest of it, showing you about the different gifts that we have. In verse 3, it says, For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as AHAYAH hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. Meaning that each and every last one of us will have a different measure of faith. We're going to read about some of that tonight. The reason the AHAYAH blessed me to do this lesson, because as we're getting closer to the finish line, we got to increase our faith. You guys hear me say this all the time, that when it's easy serving the Most High right now, because look around you. You pretty much got everything you need. Take away this stuff that we have called materialistic, and then we're going to see where our faith's at. We're going to read a couple of scriptures tonight showing that who had faith, how they built their faith up, and who didn't have faith. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1. That's Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Exactly. This is a definition of faith. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We have faith in AHAYAH. Never seen him. YASHAYA. Never seen him. But we have faith that we're serving the power. That's all we have. We wasn't around when Christ did the miracles. We just read about it. The disciples was around. We're going to bring that up and show you how their faith came down. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Verse 3.
Go ahead.
Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of AHAYAH, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. By faith Abel offered unto AHAYAH a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, AHAYAH testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because AHAYAH had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased AHAYAH.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to AHAYAH must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. By faith Noah, being warned of AHAYAH of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith.
Go ahead, verse 8, the last one.
Verse 8. By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went.
Exactly. So we see here, brothers and sisters, by faith, it's impossible. It's impossible to serve the Most High. All these brothers right here had faith. Noah had faith to build an ark. It never rained. Abraham had faith to dwell in other lands and about to sacrifice his son. This is the same faith we must have. The same faith. If not this, even more, as we see the day approaching. Let's go to Matthew chapter 14 and verse 22 through 31. To get some more examples. That's Matthew chapter 14 and verses 22 through 31. It's very important that we build our faith up every step we take, every day. Build your faith up, because the devil, he's all around us, within our homes, in our families, our jobs, wherever we go. There's so much wickedness around, and it's hard to have faith. Nobody is listening to me. I don't see this here. It don't seem like it's going to happen. It seems like I'm the only one doing this here. Keep building on your faith every day. We read the definition of what faith is. So we must always build upon it, especially as we get closer and closer to the finish line, because it's going to get harder and harder to stay in this truth. And without faith, it's impossible to serve the Most High. Impossible. I didn't say it. You just read it. So let's go to Matthew chapter 14 and verses 22 through 31.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 22. And straightway YASHAYA constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. Verse 23. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. Verse 24. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary.
Go ahead.
Verse 25. And in the fourth watch of the night, YASHAYA went unto them, walking on the sea. Verse 26. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear.
Keep going.
Verse 27. But straightway YASHAYA spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. Verse 28. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. Verse 29. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to YASHAYA.
So Peter at this time had faith. He had faith, big faith. I mean, can you imagine stepping out of a ship on some water and you're going to walk on water? At this time, Peter was high in his faith. He had major faith. But let's see what happened. Go ahead.
Verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me.
Right, so now Peter got his faith, but when trouble is coming, the brothers started doubting, like, whoa, what I'm doing? Why did I come out here? This is trouble coming now. Trouble is testing his faith. Now he's wondering, like, whoa. Read that again, verse 30.
Verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid.
See? To sink. Right there, he was afraid. So when you're afraid, you know what happens. You're going to lose faith. You have no trust. Go ahead.
He cried, saying, Lord, save me.
Right.
Verse 31.
Hold on, brother. This is showing that not only that when Peter was afraid, he knew who to call upon. And the same person we call upon, YASHAYA. YASHAYA, save us. Help us. Guess what? Let's see what YASHAYA did. YASHAYA turned his back on him once he got afraid? When he was afraid? No. Let's see what YASHAYA did. Go ahead.
Verse 31. And immediately YASHAYA stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?
That's the key word. YASHAYA helped him out when he called upon him, but also he corrected him. Thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Why did you doubt? He was out here. Don't doubt. I'm here. I'm with you. I got your back. This is the faith we got to get rid of. We got to get rid of being afraid. When we step out, we got to step out in faith, knowing once we fall down, we got a hand right there. That's YASHAYA. So it left us right back up. Let's go to Matthew 17 and 14 through 20 real quick. Matthew chapter 17, 14 through 20. Let's get some more examples. We got to build upon the faith. We got to build upon our faith every day. If you're still in the same position you was yesterday on faith, you need to check yourself. You need to check yourself. You need to be building on this, because guess what? I don't know if y'all know this. I don't know, because I'm 50. I'm getting older. Time is moving. It's going to be, May 23rd tomorrow or today, according to their calendar. Time is moving. The devil knows his time is short. He's turning the fire up. You're going to see people losing their mind. Right there where we at. And some of us going to be in some of our own homes. But we got to keep this faith and stay strong. We've been warned. So let's go to Matthew 17, 14 through 20.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, verse 15, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed. For oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. Verse 16, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him.
Wonder why? Wonder why they couldn't cure this brother, this child, the man's son. They couldn't cure this brother. They was walking with Christ, brothers and sisters. They seen the miracles. Just think what we're going to go through. We got faith. We never seen YASHAYA or AHAYAH or none of the works that he did in the flesh. These brothers walked with him. Let's see what YASHAYA said. Go ahead.
Verse 17, then YASHAYA answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me.
Christ straight telling them. I mean, this is a checkmate. Like, man, how long I got to be here with you? Faithfulness, perverse generation. How long I got to be with you? I got to keep holding your hand. There's going to come a time, brothers, that this was Christ pretty much saying, hey, there's come a time I'm not going to be here. We have more faith than disciples. The Bible said Jews always required a sign. These brothers had signs. And look what Christ called them. Faithfulness. Go ahead.
Verse 18, and YASHAYA rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 19, then came the disciples to YASHAYA apart and said, why could not we cast him out?
Right. I mean, what are we doing wrong? Well, I mean, he just called them faithfulness. I mean, they should know that. I mean, what we doing wrong? Go ahead.
Verse 20, and YASHAYA said unto them, because of your unbelief.
Because of your unbelief. Slow down, brother. Just stop at the little marks there. He said, because of your unbelief. Unbelief will smash your faith down. If you don't got trust in AHAYAH and his son YASHAYA, and you got doubt, the devil will destroy you. That's why I say we got to build our faith up every day. Every day. Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you.
Right, so YASHAYA is constantly encouraging them, even though they're losing faith. They still questioning themselves. But the same token, he's encouraging them. Look, if you had enough faith as a grain of a mustard seed, you should say unto this mountain, remove hence to you, yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. He's still encouraging the disciples. This is what we're doing right now tonight. We're encouraging one another. Keep the faith. Nothing will be impossible unto us. Who said it first? YASHAYA. And we got to remember that. Always remember that. Let's go to Exodus chapter 32 and verses 1. Just one scripture over there. Exodus chapter 32 and verses 1. It's, brothers and sisters, important that we constantly build upon our faith. You're going to hear me say that a lot. And we need each other. Iron sharpen iron. Encouragement. Encourage each other every day. Call each other up. All right, go ahead, brother.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 32, verse 1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
Right. So this is another example of our brothers and sisters way back when we came out of Egypt. After the Most High did all these things, opened up the Red Sea, did all these miracles in front of these people, they still did not have no faith. They want to go, everybody knows this story. They want to make other gods, golden calves. Why? They have no faith. I mean, come on. We know right now to the day, so-called 2015, we seen something like that. We like, man, I'm following AHAYAH. I've seen enough. You got people following brothers because they got a good speech. Or they tall, nice, and handsome. Following sisters because they pretty. A nice car, materialistic. Can you imagine what our people seen during this time of Moses? And they still didn't have faith. Now we know what the Most High call us stiff-necked. We're a stiff-necked people. So just think about that. Put yourself in that position. What AHAYAH did through YASHAYA to open up the Red Sea, to do all these things in front of our people. And they still didn't have no faith. We read stories last week where they was crying about the food, the manna, the angel food, the Most High gave them meat. They were always crying. Guess what? That generation did not get to go to the promised land. They died right there in the promised land. Why? They didn't have no faith. Are we going to be like that today? Are we halfway? They was like 40 years. They was just a couple of miles away from the promised land. They're just wandering in the desert. Are we going to get that close to the finish line and let something pick us off? Like the scriptures say, who should separate us from the love of AHAYAH? Because we have no faith. Stay on the course, brothers and sisters. Stay on the course. Let's go back to Matthew 21. Matthew chapter 21, 19 through 21. These are just some examples of our brothers and sisters back in the day didn't have no faith. And they seen more than what we seen. That's Matthew chapter 21, 19 through 21.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 19. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it, and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, and said unto it, Let no fruit grow on thee henceforward forever. And presently the fig tree withered away. Verse 20. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How soon is the fig tree withered away? Verse 21. YASHAYA answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto the mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done.
There go that doubt again. This goes to show how much faith, what faith can do. While they sitting over there doubting and wondering like, wow, all they should be doing is building their faith up. But sometimes we got to go through something in order for us, the Most High to deliver us, in order for us to have faith. Say, man, AHAYAH is real. He's real. I remember when this was on me, I was going through this, I was going through that, and he gave me a way out. That's why I said every man have a different measure. Man and woman have a different measure of faith. That's what we read earlier. What we see here again, it's saying, Verily I say unto you, if you have faith and doubt not, you should not only do this, which is done to the fig tree, but also if you shall say unto the mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. He constantly encourages them, even though they do not have enough faith at this present time. But we're going to get around to that, where these disciples build their faith up. Let's go to Luke chapter 17 and verses 5. That's Luke chapter 17 and verses 5.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 5. And the apostles said unto the Lord, increase our faith.
Right. So that's the only thing you got to ask. If you ask, the Most High, he would increase your faith, but you can't doubt. You notice what the apostles are saying. Increase our faith. Keep reading.
Verse 6. And the Lord said, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you might say unto this sycamore tree, be thou plucked up by the root, and be thou planted in the sea, and it shall obey you.
You see how the most YASHAYA keep giving different examples? It seems like it's impossible for these brothers to do this here. Well, at least they ask. They ask to say, increase our faith. And you're going to see, if you keep reading the Bible, you're going to see as their life went on, the faith increased. This is the same procedure that we have to take, the same road we have to take. As we live day by day, our faith should be increasing more and more and more, as the apostles did, just like them. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's go to 2 Peter 1 and 5. 2 Peter chapter 1 and verses 5.
This is 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge.
Hey, brother, you got to fix your phone, because I know it's hard for me to hear you. Can you read that again and fix your phone? I don't know what you're doing over there.
Verse 5. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge.
Right. So add to your faith virtue, and virtue knowledge. How you get the knowledge? By reading this gospel. By coming to these conference calls. So with faith, you're going to get knowledge. And you're going to increase every day in this walk. Every day in this walk. But the first thing you got to do like the apostles did. You got to ask. And you can't doubt. You cannot doubt nothing. Whatever the Most High says he's going to give you, he's going to give it to you. He might not give you that Mercedes-Benz or that big 4-bedroom house and a big old fat bank account because he knows you're going to turn to the left. Well, he's going to give you what you need. You believe that? By faith, it's there, right there. Let's go to Matthew chapter 7. We're going to read 7 through 8. That's Matthew chapter 7. We're going to read 7 through 8. I pray that I'm not going too fast for you, brothers and sisters. If so, just write these scriptures down and go back over them and meditate on the scriptures. We're talking about faith. That's Matthew chapter 7. We're going to read verses 7 and 8.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Exactly.
So he's telling us to ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be open unto you. He's giving us an invitation. No one on this line should be lacking knowledge, our faith. The reason we lack these things is because we doubt. Just like he told the disciples. Faithfulness. You doubt. Don't doubt. If you ask the Most High for something, he's going to give it to you because he knows what you need. Go ahead.
Verse 8. For everyone that asketh, receiveth.
See?
And he that seeketh, findeth.
Told you.
And to him that knocketh, it shall be opened.
But you can't doubt. Have the faith. It's given to us freely. All we got to do is ask. And we're going to get everything that we need. All the time, all day, every day. Not what you want. It's a difference. Different than what you need and what you want. And we got to remember that, brothers and sisters, because, like I said before, the Bible tells us the only thing we need is our shelter, our food, and our clothes. That's it. We should be good to go. Because when the devil comes and take away all this material stuff, are you going to have faith? You take away your job, your husband, your wife leave you, your kids leave you. Are you still going to have that faith? Through much tribulation will we enter into the kingdom? He's given us all these warnings. In other words, we're not going to have no excuse. None whatsoever. So while we still got breath in our lungs, increase your faith every day. Play mind games with yourself. Play mind games with yourself. Man, if they come and did this to me, will I deny Christ? Will I stand bold? Just play things. You know your worst nightmare. Play that game in your mind and practice it. Play it out over and over again. Because the Bible says someone's going to be thrown in prison. Someone's going to die. So you got to remember that. In order for you to overcome this here, you got to have faith. He says it's impossible to worship AHAYAH without faith. We read how much faith Abraham had, Noah, you know what I'm saying, Abel. All this was faith. They didn't know, he's going to honor this or he's not going to honor this. But by faith, the Most High honored that because they never doubt. They didn't doubt not one bit. Cain, he doubted. All the rest of his brothers, they was doubting. Peter, he doubted. He fell in the water. YASHAYA brought him back up. Let's go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15. And this is how you're going to build your faith up. This is how you're going to build your faith up. You ain't going to build your faith up just by sitting on your hands. You're not going to build your faith up by just coming to the conference calls. That's just a portion of it. This is what you got to do to build your faith up. Read.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto AHAYAH, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Exactly. This is the key word I want to bring out here is study. To show thyself approved unto AHAYAH. Don't study for me or for no brothers and sisters on here. Study to show yourself approved unto AHAYAH. A workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Because if you know you studied to show yourself approved to AHAYAH, you're gonna stand up with boldness. You're going to have faith. Like, I know what I'm talking about is true. I know I'm rightly dividing the word. I believe in what I'm reading. You know why you're going to feel that way? Because you studied. Your faith increased. It ain't like you've been a parakeet and someone's telling you something and you're just repeating it. No, you studied. Not to show yourself approved to me, to the Most High. And he's not going to let you down. Not one iota. He ain't going to let you down. So read that again, brother, please.
Verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto AHAYAH, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
That's what you got to do, brothers and sisters. To increase your faith, you got to study. Don't just be a hearer of the word, be a doer. When I say doer, not only just go out and help the people, pass out flyers and this and that. No, you got to be a doer. Study. You got to humble yourself like Isaiah 28:9 say. Whom should he teach knowledge? Whom should he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Only he can give you this. But you got to do. He said, you knock. We just read the scripture. You knock, and he will open it. Just ask. But you got to do something too. To increase your faith. To uplift yourself. Because we got troubled times coming down the line. And y'all all know that. I ain't got to tell you that. You watch CNN. You live on this planet. You see how the gay rights they get more rights than anybody now. Drugs, they're legalizing drugs now. They got our kids reading out of homosexual books in school. The Spirit is working in all ages. Ain't going to tell you 50, 40. You can be 5, 10, 20. They do not discriminate. We got to be ready to withstand the fiery darts of Satan. The only way we're going to withstand it, we got to put on the whole shield, all the armor. And the first one is faith. You got to have the faith. If not, you ain't got the faith, you will get poked all over the place, and you're going to fall. And it's your fault because you have been warned. The Bible says it's better for you not to even know this truth and to know the truth and go back out there in the world. So we have no excuse no more. We just got to keep moving forward. You're going to fall down. You're going to sink in the water. Call upon him. He will pick you up and dust it off and keep it pushing. But the only way you're going to get that is by having faith and studying. Only thing I can do, I'm doing my part. The other brothers is doing their part. You continue to do your part. Because it's he that endured to the end, the same should be saved. Let's go there to get let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. We're going to read 5 through 6. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 5 through 6.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of AHAYAH, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
It says every thought to the obedience of Christ. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of AHAYAH. You got to cast this stuff down. Because if you don't cast it down, guess what's going to happen? It's going to bring your faith down. And bring into captivity every thought to be obedience unto Christ. What do you mean bring into captivity every thought? Every time a thought runs across your mind, because we can't stop a thought coming across, but you get to smash it, rebuke it, so you can be obedient unto YASHAYA. Go ahead.
Verse 6, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled.
Exactly. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And having in readiness to revenge all disobedient when your obedience is fulfilled. How you going to get that? By having faith. A lot of us are scared to talk. I ain't going to say nothing. That ain't my business. There's a time and place for everything. Increase the faith. But you can speak boldly. Cry loud. Spare not. Show my people their transgression. It didn't say be quiet, mind your own business. It don't say that. It tells us to cry loud and spare not and show our people their transgression. Because that's our job. We're just servants. That's what we signed up for. If you can't do the job, get out. Run. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life while you still have one. Because it's going to be real short. It's going to come to an end real quick. All right, let's go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21.
This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Prove all things. Hold fast that which is good.
And that's what we must always do, brothers and sisters. This is how you're going to keep your faith up. Because if you follow these scriptures, you got to prove all things and hold fast that which is good. Because if we don't, guess what's going to happen? If you don't prove all things, this is how you prove it according to the scriptures. You're going to lose your faith. You're going to be let down. That's how we get heartbroken. That's one thing I say about the sisters. I'm just going to use this analogy. When the sister brought the date of brother, she pretty much gave him an interview. You got a job? How long you been on your job? How much money you making? How many kids you got? How many kids you want? They know. They just don't jump into something. The wise sisters, but brothers, we go in head first and find out later. That's why the Bible tells you prove all things and hold fast to that which is true, according to the scriptures. Because if you don't do that, you lose faith. We all had relationships and problems in a relationship where you trusted someone with something without investigating it. Now you can't even trust that person no more because you ain't got that faith. Just because it's something you didn't do, not what that person did. It's what you didn't do. You didn't investigate. You didn't measure it up to the scriptures. So now your faith is going down in that person. Well, it's the same thing. Well, we don't want your faith to go down in YASHAYA or AHAYAH. That's why he told us to prove all things and hold fast to that which is true. How you prove it? Through the scriptures. Keep your faith up. If you're losing faith, check yourself. If you ain't gaining faith, check yourself. If you're increasing your faith, you know you're on the right path. Because you're knocking the darks down, in fiery darks. We get hurt because we let people hurt us. We lose faith because we don't study, and we think we know. We think we know everything. We meditate on these vain thoughts that come in our mind. We hang around people that beat us down because everything is spiritual. And the devil knows once you lose your faith, he got you. He got you. You see what Job did? Job kept his faith. He said, AHAYAH give it, AHAYAH take it away. Even when his wife came against him, he kept the faith. When he kept the faith, the Most High increased him double what he had. All these examples in the Bible for us. Let's not be like our forefathers, always complaining and mourning. We ain't seen Moses, even though he did all that stuff. Don't be like the disciples. They seen the miracles, and they still didn't have the faith. Eventually, they end up getting the faith. We know that by reading the scriptures. But it's our turn now, brothers and sisters. It's our turn to prove all things and hold fast to that which is true. It's our turn now. Are we going to finish? Are we going to be like Paul? I ran a good race. Are we going to be like that? Or are we going to let something pull our faith down? And when something pull our faith down, you're going to go down right along with it. Because the Bible says it's impossible to serve AHAYAH without faith. You're fighting uphill. So keep the faith. You cannot keep the commandments unless you have faith. Faith comes before all that. So I pray that you're paying attention to how important your faith is. Let's go to Joshua and chapter 1 and 8. That's Joshua, the book of Joshua, the Old Testament, chapter 1. We're going to read verses 8 and 9.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Hey, that is clear as day. It says, this book of the law should not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. Not some of it, all of it. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. In other words, you follow these rules and regulations, what's written down in this Bible, it's all good. You go to the left, hey, you're going to fall. You're going to fall. This got to be in us. It's like it's sweet going in. A little bitter wants to get in there. But the same token, follow what this book is saying. That's why I said earlier, we ain't going to have no excuse. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Well, Lord, I really didn't know. And, no, you're right here. It's better for you not to know. You shouldn't have called in. Now you're accountable. But I'm glad you called in. Because the harvest is plenty, but the labors are few. We need more brothers and sisters to spread this gospel. But for you that's on this line, build your faith up. Increase your faith every day. Knock down some of these strongholds that you've been dealing with every day. Only thing you got to do is ask. You see, you ask and you should receive. You knock, you're going to open it. What's the problem? But believe and don't doubt. He got your back. Believe that. Look how far he got you. Look at yesterday. You made it to today. So he's still on your team. Read verse 9.
Verse 9. Have not I commanded thee, be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy power is with thee whatever thou goest.
Whatsoever thou goest. So, it telleth, have I not commanded thee? Be strong. Because this is what he's telling. Everything the Most High, YASHAYA telleth, it's a commandment. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and be of good courage. Be not afraid, like Peter was. Neither be thou dismayed. Don't be all shocked. For the Lord, thy power, is with thee, whatsoever thou goest. Wherever you go, he got your back. Why can't we not do this here? Why can't we look at our brothers and sisters and say, man, why we can't do this here? It's that easy. We got the backup. Like my homie got my back, my girlfriend got my back. No, the person that got your back made your back. It made everything that you see. I'm going to listen to that person. I ain't worried about who can hurt my body. I'm worried about the one who can hurt my body and my soul. He loves us so much. Why you can't do it? We just got to ask and believe it without doubting. Once we do that, it's all good. Okay, let's go to James chapter 1, because I started running off at the mouth. Won't get all through all these scriptures, but I'm praying that no one got nowhere to go tonight. And everybody got some sleep. Let's go to James chapter 1. Let me see where I'm at. Yeah, chapter 1. We're going to read 2 through 6. That's James chapter 1, verses 2 through 6.
This is the book of James, chapter 1, verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations.
Because you're going to go through them. You're going to go through them. He didn't say you're not going to go count it bad when you go through temptation. No, he's letting you know. My brother, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Because it's going to happen. Through much tribulation, we will enter to the kingdom. But he got our back, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience.
That's all it's doing. That's all it's doing. Go ahead.
Verse 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Uh-huh.
Verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of AHAYAH.
Just ask, brothers and sisters. Just stop at the comments for a minute, brother. Just give me like a 30-second pause, 10-second pause. It say, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of AHAYAH. See how free it is? Go ahead.
That giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him.
Exactly. Just he will give it to you. You didn't ask for some food, he will give you a serpent. This is good stuff. And he loves us so much. Like you're your child. If your child asks you for some food, you ain't going to give him a rock to eat. We're his children. He's going to give it to us. To do what? To build our faith up. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Hey, that was going to be my last scripture. Verse 8. I'm going to bring it out now, because it fits right there. It say a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So if you doubting, and you ain't got no faith when you ask the Most High, knowing that you already receive it, when you ask the Most High for something, just say, I just got it. It's just in the mail. I just got to wait on it. It's going to come. I already got it. I receive it. That's what Sister Eva always said. I receive it. Brother Ibad, when I talk to you, I receive it. Just receive it. Don't doubt. Every time a doubt comes, I rebuke you in the name of AHAYAH bahasham YASHAYA. That thought that comes in your mind, I rebuke you in the name of AHAYAH bahasham YASHAYA. But if you let that thought meditate, you're going to start doubting. And the Bible says a double-minded man or woman is unstable in all his ways or her ways. This is what faith is. Knowing. It's like you know that you're sitting right there in front of your book. You know that. The faith is something to hope for and something not seen. But guess what? You got to bring it to pass. Bring it to the present time. And all you got to do is just ask. It's right there. Verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of AHAYAH. That's it. And with faith also. He give it to us. But one thing about faith, you got to hold on to it. You got to study. You got to work on it. You got to rebuke. But you got to increase as you go along through this walk. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 and 10. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verses 9 and 10.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me.
Right. So he said you're going to glory. That's why the Bible says count it all joy. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
Guess what? This brother has faith. To go through all this, it's showing you how they built their faith up. Because they wasn't acting like this, what we just read earlier. They did not act like that. Now, he's going through it. And guess what he's doing? He's taking it with joy. He's happy going through it. Ain't nothing stopping him. Nothing whatsoever. And guess who this is? It's Brother Paul. So Paul was going through stuff too, but he had to get built up to that point. Peter ended up coming to that point. Peter denied YASHAYA 3 times. But he got to the point where Peter was thrown in jail. And they told him not to preach. And they went out preaching even more. Guess why? Because their faith was built up. They was convinced in their mind and in their heart that YASHAYA is real. He's real. But guess what? They've seen it. We haven't seen him. And we got the faith that we're going to continue to do this work. Let's see another brother that had faith. Let's go to Genesis chapter 22 and 9. The father of faith. That's Genesis chapter 22 and verses 9. Again, that's Genesis. Go ahead.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 22, verse 9. And they came to the place which AHAYAH had told them of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. Verse 10. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. Verse 11. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. Verse 12. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest AHAYAH, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, from me.
Exactly. So Abraham had to have faith to do this here. He had to have faith to bring his son about to sacrifice Isaac, because he heard the voice of AHAYAH tell him to do so. Again, he did not let Abraham down. He even saved his son at this point right here. Saved him. But he wanted to see how much faith did he have. It wasn't like, oh, I believe in AHAYAH. AHAYAH bahasham YASHAYA Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. No, let's see what you're going to go through. Because your faith is going to be tested. Job was, Abraham was, Jacob, Paul, Peter. And, of course, our faith is going to be tested too. We got to, we want to make it to that kingdom? You want to sit among brothers that survived the test? Guess what? You got to go through it. That's why you got to prepare yourself every day, building your faith up unto death. Unto death. Not because they take away your car, your credit card, your job. The Bible says he'd never seen his children begging for bread. Never. So we got to build our faith up. I can't say that enough. And we need each other. Iron sharpen iron. That's what that scripture is talking about. Keep going, pushing each other towards that finish line. Motivating, encouraging, exalting one another. Every day. Every day. Not only on this conference calls. Everybody got an iPhone, a cell phone, some type of phone. Call your brothers and sisters up. How you doing today? Is it all good? Yeah, let's talk it out. Let's walk it out, whatever it may be. Build each other up. Encourage one another as you see the day approaching. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's go to, what's that, Hebrews 10. Let me see where it's at. Go to Hebrews chapter 10. I have this in it. Go to Hebrews chapter 10 and verses 25. This is how we encourage one another to keep our faith built up. Go ahead, read that, brother. The Hebrews 10 and 25.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 25. Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together.
We got that down pat. We hold on, brother. We got that down pat. We can't assemble ourselves together in the physical. We can do that on the holy days. But on this phone, with technology, we doing that. Go ahead.
As the manner of some is,
but
exhorting one another.
That's the key. Exhorting one another, encouraging one another, building your faith up, pushing towards that finish line. Go ahead.
And so much the more, as you see the day approaching.
As you see these wicked days approaching. So much more now. Call your brothers and sisters up. Build their faith up. Because we're going to need it. Let's go to Hebrews 11 and 7. Just flip a page. Some people don't have to flip a page. Hebrews chapter 11 and verses 7. One script right there, I think. Go ahead.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11.
No, start at verse 6. Start at verse 6. I want to read that.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith it is impossible to please him.
Exactly.
For he that cometh to AHAYAH must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
That's plain and simple. Go ahead.
Verse 7. By faith Noah, being warned of AHAYAH of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith.
Exactly. You see what faith will get you? You just listen, do what he say. Noah saved his whole family. Everybody was laughing at him. Well, you a Hebrew, you don't celebrate Christmas. You ain't going out Friday. You don't want to get with that girl. Come on. You don't want to get that dude. You know you've been single for so long. Nah, brother. Nah, sister. I'm keeping the faith. It's greater later. I'm not doing that. Because I got too many examples in the Bible that brothers and sisters kept the faith. And they got their reward. They got their reward coming up real soon. You got your reward now. And it's just like a vapor. Only for a season. It's like grass that withers in a hot summer day. That's their reward because they have no faith. The reward that I want will last forever and ever and ever. Ain't going to be no rust on it. It ain't going to get old. That's by keeping the faith. We just read it's impossible. It's impossible. Verse 6, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to AHAYAH must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. This is what we got to believe. This is the encouragement that Hebrews 10 and 25 is talking about. Preaching to our brothers and sisters, encouraging them to keep the faith. And we will overcome. We will overcome. The Most High is not going to lie. He cannot lie. He's going to give you what you deserve. If you keep the faith, you get your reward. If you don't, he's a judge, so I just pray that he show mercy. But I don't want to have that on my mind. I want to be like Paul. Hey, I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. Let's go to Acts chapter 21, verses 10 through 14. That's the book of Acts, chapter 21, 10 through 14.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 10. And as we tarried there many days, there came down from Judea certain prophets named Agabus. Verse 11. And when he was come unto us, he took Paul's girdle and bound his own hands and feet, and said, Thus saith the YASHAYA, so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that owneth this girdle, and shall deliver him into the hand of the Gentiles.
Go ahead.
Verse 12. And when we heard these things, both we and they of that place besought him not to go up to Jerusalem. Verse 13. Then Paul answered and said, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord YASHAYA.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, The will of the Lord be done.
You see the attitude Paul had? If that's not faith, what is it? Then Paul answered, verse 13, then Paul answered, What means ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of our Lord YASHAYA. That's faith, brothers and sisters. This is where we need to be. If you're not there now, work on it. Guess what? It will be coming to your door or to a town near you. It will be coming. Because you know why I say that? They're going to persecute us. Not only for what we believe in, for the name of YASHAYA, AHAYAH. Oh, you think you better than everybody else. They already call it that we're in a cult. What you mean you don't go to church on Sunday? What do you mean you can't go out Friday night? What do you mean you hate homosexuality? That's for Christ, that's for his name's sake right there. Because guess what? John 1:1. That's the word. This is his words. In the beginning was the word. Okay? That's Christ's word. So this is what you're going to get punished for. These words that we're reading right now. These laws, statutes, and commandments. They weren't punishing Paul just because he was saying YASHAYA. No, because he was preaching the words of YASHAYA. Rebuking all these devils. The defender of the gospel. Defending the gospel. Not that it need, but he spoke. He cried aloud. He spared not. He went harder in the pain for YASHAYA than he did for the Pharisees when he was persecuting the Jews. That's why I say I don't micromanage my time in this truth. Because when I was in the world, I never said, man, I've been sinning for 23 hours and 30 minutes. Never thought of it. Full-time sinner. A full-time sinner. Never blinked the eye on it. So I'm not going to micromanage my time. When Paul was working against YASHAYA, he did it. Did a good job. I was afraid of this brother. But now the Most High and YASHAYA blinded this brother. This brother's going, he said, I'm ready to die. I'm not ready to be put in jail and bound, but I'm ready to die for the name of YASHAYA. That's faith. He's about to give his life up. That's where I want to be. I don't know about you. I pray that you want that. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 11. Going back to Hebrews chapter 11 again. This time we're going to read verses 24 through 27. That's Hebrews chapter 11. This time we're going to read verses 24 through 27.
This is the book of Hebrews.
Give them time to get there, brother. Give them time to get there, brother. Everybody can't flip the pages just like you. That's Hebrews chapter 11, verses 24 through 27. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 24. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Verse 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of AHAYAH than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
That brother had faith. This brother had faith. He believed. Like, nah, I'm doing what the Father said. Rather than, they say the son of Pharaoh's daughter. They say by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. You know what they're saying? That's like you refuse to be Bill Gates' son-in-law or daughter-in-law. Nah, I want nothing to do with this wickedness. That's what Moses was saying. I don't want nothing to do with this wickedness. But Moses knew the law. He had law back then too. Maybe not what written in tablets, but they had the law. All the way from Noah to Abraham. Abraham to Adam. The law always been on the books. So this brother had, I refuse. I don't want nothing to do with this high, mighty, the rich of the famous Egyptians. Go ahead.
Verse 26. Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
Go ahead.
Verse 27. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible.
Wow. That's self-explanatory. No need to elaborate on that. Just read it all the way through, from the top all the way through again.
Verse 24. By faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Verse 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of AHAYAH than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Verse 26, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
Recompense.
Verse 27, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible.
So the brother didn't have no fear. Because if you got fear and you're afraid, you can't have no faith. They don't work hand in hand. You either going to be a skinny cat or you're going to keep the faith. You can't work with both. You can't be double-minded. I'm scared on this, but I'll stand up for this. I'll say a high over here, but I ain't going to say it over there. No. Cry loud. Spare not. Show my people their transgression. Not when nobody, I'm not in your house. You ain't got to prove nothing to El Gabar. You got to prove to AHAYAH. I don't know what nobody's doing. Like you don't know what I'm doing. But without faith, it's impossible to please the Most High. We see all these brothers that have faith. How many of us today can, at this present time in our lives, reject, go live with Bill Gates, or to go up and kick it with Barack Hussein Obama, or anybody for that matter? You fill in the blank. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3 more scriptures. I pray that everybody have their apocrypha. And these for some brothers that had, we read that some brothers had the faith. And we're going to read about a sister and her sons. But this sister, the Bible says, raised a child up in the Lord, he would never depart. This sister did that. And she installed faith into her sons. And she kept the faith. So we go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 7, 1 through 20. That's 2 Maccabees, and read this loud, Art. I'm going to just let you read, I think. 2 Maccabees, chapter 7, 1 through 20. Let the people get there. In the red book is the page 146. That's 2 Maccabees, chapter 7, verses 1 through 20. All right, go ahead, brother.
This is 2 Maccabees in the Apocrypha, chapter 7, verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. Verse 2. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Verse 3. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and caldrons to be made hot. Verse 4. Which forthwith, being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the upmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. Verse 5. Now when he was thus made in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus. Verse 6. The Most High AHAYAH looketh upon us, and in trust hath comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. Verse 7. So when the first was dead after this manner, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? Verse 8. But he answered in his own language and said, No. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. Verse 9. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, Thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws, unto everlasting life. Verse 10. After him was a third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully. Verse 11. And said courageously, These I have from heaven, and for his laws I despise them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Verse 12. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. Verse 13. Now when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. Verse 14. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, It is good, being put to death by man, to look for hope from AHAYAH to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Verse 15. Afterward they brought the fifth also, and mangled him. Verse 16. Then looked he unto the king, and said, Thou hast power over man. Thou art corruptible, thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of AHAYAH. Verse 17. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. Verse 18. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. Verse 19. But think not, thou that takest hand to strive against AHAYAH, that thou shalt escape unpunished. Verse 20. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord.
Oh, praises to AHAYAH. Now you tell me, brothers and sisters, I'm not even at that point. I might can see 2, 3 of them. I got 7 children. I might can see 2 or 3 of them probably go. Okay, but I'm building upon that every day. This is faith. And in Hebrews chapter 11 and verses 1, they say, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. These brothers and sisters right here, this sister and her 7 sons, had that same faith that we have right now. They didn't see YASHAYA. They was hoping and praying. We ain't breaking the law. We're not doing that. I don't care what you saying, Mr. King. You got power over my life now, but you ain't got power to raise me back up. And don't think you're not going to get punished. You're going to get punished, but your punishment is going to be worse than what you're doing to us. And the mother just took joy in it. Take joy. This is what I'm trying to get my faith up to, where I can see anybody, for that matter, including myself, go through this type of punishment and still keep the faith of AHAYAH. Because the Bible says, don't be afraid of the one that can hurt your body. Be afraid of the one that can hurt your body and your soul. And man can't do that. No matter, he wish he can, but he can't. All right, let's go to James chapter 2 and verse 19. That's James chapter 2, verse 18. No, matter of fact, let's start at verse 17. James chapter 2 and verse 17.
This is the book of James, chapter 2, verse 17. Even so faith, it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Verse 18.
Right.
Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works.
Go ahead.
Verse 19. Thou believest that there is one power. Thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble.
Exactly. So the devil also believe and tremble. So it takes more than belief. It's going to take some action. You're going to go through it. I believe like the church said, just call on his name and you save. La-ah. Faith without works is dead. We're going to read that. Keep going.
Verse 20. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
See, it takes more than believing. Take that faith, and it takes that work. Go ahead.
Verse 21. Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar?
Go ahead.
Verse 22. Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect.
Keep going.
Verse 23. And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed AHAYAH, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness. And he was called the friend of AHAYAH.
That's what I want to be called, the son, the friend, servant, whatever. Go ahead.
Verse 24. Ye see then how that by work a man is justified, and not by faith only.
Right, because it takes both. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Likewise also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works, when she had received the messengers and had sent them out another way.
Go ahead.
Verse 26. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also.
Right. So, you see how important faith is. A lot of people got works, they have no faith. People got faith, they have no work. They work hand in hand, brothers and sisters. But tonight, we're talking about faith. We always talk about works. We're talking about faith tonight because we got to increase our faith as the day is approaching. The Bible says even more now. We got to encourage one another. Keep the faith. Keep going down this walk. If we don't, it ain't going to be you got mail. It's going to be you got problems. That's the only thing that's going to happen. Now, let's go to Revelation, the last scripture for the night. And this is the reason I ask my brothers and sisters to build upon your faith every day. Every day. And if you're not, check yourself. Because this is what we got coming to us. This is exactly, let's go to Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to read verses 16 through, this verse 16, that's all we're going to read. This is what we got coming. Revelation chapter 13 and verses 16 and 17. That's Revelation 13, verses 16 and 17.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Everybody know what that mark is. That's the mark of the beast. That's the mark called 666. This is what's coming down. This is in our time. The mark of the beast. Your money ain't gonna be worth nothing. This is where your faith is gonna come in at. This is where you're going to totally depend upon AHAYAH for everything. It said, and he's gonna cause it all. Ain't nobody gonna miss this boat. Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bound, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Exactly. So you're not going to be able to buy or sell. What that mean for us today? The monetary system. What that mean? You ain't going to be able to go to Walmart's, drive through Burger King, go to the movies. You ain't going to be able to sell your house, sell your car, buy your tags to drive your car, buy gasoline, because money is no more. That's why he said he's going to cause it all. Verse 16. He's going to make it a law. You got to be like, no, I'm not, no. I ain't with that. I'm not with that. I'm not taking it because we've been warned. Read verse 18.
Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
That's 666, people. This is why we got to increase our faith, to get ready for this time. Don't think you're going to be raptured up like the Christian church is telling you. Oh, you're going to be right here. Unless you die before this get here. But this is coming to a town near you. You already got people in Europe. They already got commercials pumping it out in the third world countries. You know how many people are going to accept that because they have no faith? Well, God know my heart. He know my baby need to eat. He know I need my iPhone. How I'm going to communicate with my mama. I ain't going for none of that. You're not going to the kingdom on a buddy system or on a banner. No banner. You're not going to the kingdom on the gathering of the elect. It's just you. So where's your faith? Are you building upon your faith? Instead of building your bank account and building muscles, build your faith every day so we can withstand the fiery darts of Satan. This puppy right here that we just got through reading, it ain't no getting out of this. It ain't no getting out of this. You accept that mark, you might as well stick a fork in you because you're done. I mean, literally done. Like lake of fire done. With that, brothers and sisters, I pray that you got some understanding tonight, and moving forward, that we encourage each and every last one of us to keep and to build our faith and keep moving towards that finish line. But like the Bible says, many are called, few are chosen. And I pray that we all on this line cross that finish line. And we'll be chosen by AHAYAH, by YASHAYA, and the YASHAYA. I love you all. And I pray that you continue to pray and fast for me, my family, for yourself, and your brothers and sisters. With that, I yield.